Hello there, I'm making a hand-fighting power fantasy game or horde puncher as a wise man decided, inspired by Doom the Dark Ages and Berserk. I'm making this game cause I just love those moments when the character is this unstoppable thing against a much larger force. Well, power fantasy, you know how it goes, and I thought there would be no better way of giving the player that feel than just having you show up with your two fists against the medieval army and beating up everyone. My two main points I wanna get right on this game are to firstly make the punching and the attacks feel as powerful as possible. Of course, currently I'm not done with this yet, I got it alright I think, but we'll be working a lot more on the feel and feedback of everything, we'll figure it out. Secondly, I wanna make the combat really varied and interesting with a bunch of moves and environmental things while avoiding it getting too confusing. I just want some fun combat that doesn't get old easily. While I was deciding on what kind of game to make, I came up with an idea for the latter which kinda sold the concept to me. Cause what do we need a bunch of moves? We don't wanna make the player spam light attack left and light attack right and heavy attack left and heavy attack right for the entire game. The problem with a bunch of moves is that we also need to perform them somehow, and putting 20 plus techniques on different keys does not go brrr. I also wanted to avoid simple key combinations cause I didn't wanna make the player learn the keys for them cause who likes to learn stuff. What I wanna do instead is this tree-like system that kinda branches out. First the player would need to perform some kinda setup action, for example picking up a small enemy. And now that you have done your setup action, you have a couple options for abilities you can perform from there. In this case, hurling him at the others for a good ranged attack or blowing him up with a punch for some close range area damage or to shotgun jump. This will not only be way easier to remember when you wanna perform a specific attack, cause instead of memorizing buttons you will just go, well I wanna throw an enemy so I should probably have an enemy in my hand. But they will also flow well when you're in intense combat, like how such shotgun jump transitions into the aerial moveset. I also wanna make the game very story-centered with a bunch of cutscenes and world building and such, very much inspired by Berserk. One thing I do not know yet is how serious I wanna make the story, like do we want it like Doom that takes itself very seriously or a disengage? But I think this will depend on how the gameplay turns out. Give me your opinions though. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, it's time for some early development. I quickly got the basic player and the first enemy down, massively equipped with breaking armor and ragdoll physics and such, which will play a really big part in those powerful feeling punches we were talking of, and started experimenting with the first four abilities. We already mentioned this, I started with the enemy grab moveset, I don't know, which currently has the this and the this. And for said area moveset I made this ground slam and this dive bomb thing. All this put together was already surprisingly satisfying. Here I kinda ran out of options for abilities with just these low HP good for nothing individuals, so I started putting together this bigger enemy with a big HP pool and a big shield and a massive cut. So when we have him finished we can do more creative stuff like some parry based abilities, which is why I'm giving him this big drawback slash, so there's actually a bigger attack that's worth parrying. But that's for the next episode. I think this project is going pretty well so far, I'm really looking forward to see how it ends up. If this interests you, make sure to check out my daily short form content. These are quite a bit ahead cause I need to reach the end of the month before I can start working on these, so I actually know what to put in the script. If you have an idea you wanna see me add, make sure to leave it in the comments. See you next month.